what happens to people who can't physically learn about Jesus?
Hmm.
So I'm assuming this means, somebody with either an intellectual disability or something, or they're too young, something like that. So Johnny, what would you say to our friend in Stowe? What
Yeah.
happens to people who can't physically learn about Jesus?
The cool thing about this question is that it's really compassionate.
Yes.
The person
Yes.
that's asking this, like, it is so clear that you care about other people and you are looking beyond just what can God do for me, but
Mhm.
does God care about other people too?
Oh,
So I love that. I
yeah.
think that, like, for the person that asked this question, like, I think that is a reflection of God's character in you. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. The interesting thing about faith is that it is not an intellectual thing. Meaning, I think sometimes we can try to think to ourselves, okay, for me, in order to have faith in God, I need to have good enough evidence to convince myself that it is true. That's not faith, that's intellectualism. That's like I have enough head knowledge about God that I think that he's real. I've determined that God is real. And that's not faith, right? Like faith is a spiritual thing. And so every single time that someone is saved, they go from being not a Christian to believing in God. They are a Christian now. That is a miracle because what is happening there is God is taking someone's soul, which the Bible tells us is dead because of sin, and he is miraculously bringing that soul back to life. And when that happens, the spiritually alive soul is able to recognize and acknowledge the truth of God and accept that it is true and good. Right? Like when we're able to spiritually see the truth of who God is, we recognize that it is both true and it is good. So that is a totally spiritual concept. So it's not a mental thing, it's not an emotional thing, it's not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's totally separate from that. And so yes, we have the ability to understand God in our minds, but that isn't the same as having faith. And so, in the same way that God can save someone by miraculously bringing their soul from dead to alive, he can do that for anyone. So, somebody who has intellectual disability and does not have the capability of understanding the Bible and being able to repeat truths about who God is and all of that, they still are capable of being saved because it is miracle. It's not an intellectual thing, it's a spiritual thing.
Johnny, that is so insightful. That's a really insightful way to answer that, and I think it's so true, is that sometimes we think of it as just this, like, intellectual, like, "I need to believe this, and that's what makes me a Christian." But there are certain beliefs that's like, yes, you have to believe that, but really it's this regenerative faith that is
Mm.
inside of us that comes from God. It is the spiritual thing that happens inside of us. And that God in his extreme mercy and care and love for his people, we're you can't sit here and say certain people are excluded from that.
Mhm.
That like there's a mystery to faith and
Mm.
there's a mystery to God, and that's beautiful and that's awesome. And there's a miracle that's happened inside of each one of us. So
Yeah.
so good. So so good.